end up sabotaging good things because that affects you on such a deep level. And you tend to, the people pleasing shows up in taking on everyone's perceptions when when you're going through something or your mind is playing games with you. It shows up in the people closest to you and the treatment towards them, and it's very hard to move past it. Now, if these things happen, alhamdulillah, I have the skills when they happen, because something else, the reclamation is not going to just be a magic pill that's going to change everything. You will change, inshallah, and you will learn to deal with these situations in a way that brings you closer to Allah, but also deepens your connection with people. So now when these same things happen, I'm able to recognize it, alhamdulillah, and move through it. And a big thing that changed is being able to admit when I'm wrong. Something that was very difficult before was admitting when I was wrong. Alhamdulillah, that's something that I see very differently now. I don't see it as...
I actually think that is revolutionary in and of itself, because if more people in our ummah, and it starts with us, it's easy to look out there and say, you need to do it and you need to do it. But individually, for me, am I able to admit, first of all, am I able to reflect and have enough self-awareness to go, hey, you know what, I was out of line there? Because boundaries, as you know, in reclamation, is first the boundary with yourself. How are you going to have fair boundaries with everyone else if you're moving from a place of injustice and not even aware of it? So that ability to, what you said now, that ability to make mistakes in your relationships and create repair. So many people in our community don't have that skill. Good-hearted people don't have that skill. And what happens is they just run on a loop. If you don't have that skill of repair, you feel so guilty that you overcompensate, and then you transgress your own boundaries, and then you get resentful again, and then you do the same thing again, and it just becomes this endless cycle of people pleasing.
This last part that you mentioned of going into a shame spiral was, I think, the biggest push for me to sign up for reclamation, because obviously there's certain incidents, and it was an incident where I felt that way and I projected it into certain relationships, and kind of you end up sabotaging good things because that affects you on such a deep level. And you tend to, the people pleasing shows up in taking on everyone's perceptions. And often these are people who are emotionally less mature. And so they're projecting their things, but the guilt is so deep that you start to wonder if you're this terrible person, and then go and sabotage all other good relationships or project it onto other people. And that is so detrimental. Whereas now, if it's something you're able to, or alhamdulillah, I'm able to recognize that, okay, this is it. It doesn't, because part of the reclamation is building up our self-worth and our self-confidence by getting it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without any conditions. When these things happen, you're able to be a bit more objective, and suddenly everything is not a do or die. It's okay, this is a mess up. And I remember specifically coming to you a few months in where I felt like, okay, things were going well, alhamdulillah. And then suddenly I remember saying I'm regressing because of how I handled a certain situation. And you talked me through it, and alhamdulillah, the ability to make amends in that situation instead of letting it just fester was something that I would never have been able to do before.